Champ,
Here we are, champ.
you know what it is?
The tea time, huh?
Let's go.
Let's go, champ.
Where's yours?
How was
you haven't got yours yet?
Nah, I've got a Coke today, actually.
What?
Oh no. Mixing it up, man. A little bit of caffeine. Get me going through this. I don't know how long this is going to be. So
yeah, it could be a big one, actually. I just thought about that. Actually,
yeah, it could be a little
very
while.
well be a big one. I'm just going to say, if Chris doesn't see that Collingwood Cup in the picture at some point, we might be in some strife there, brother. Yeah?
Brother, it's always, I've always got it. Like if I've got a tea, besides the time I was sick, it's been cutting about. It's just last couple of sessions I haven't had a tea, so
hey, man, you don't have to explain it to me, brother.
What a man.
Mello, what's going on? How have you been dealing with the week off? No Pies footy this week.
Yeah. It's been a funny one, hasn't it, champs? No footy.
Actually, I missed the streams, to be honest. I really did.
I had so much free time this weekend. I didn't know what to do.
Fuck.
Yeah.
No, man.
Didn't know what to do with myself. No coaching as well. They got the bike with the school holiday. I was new man today. New man.
So you mowed the lawn for 2 hours. That's how bored you were.
I had to. It was fucking overdue. It was overdue, boys. It was overdue.
Carlton won, so that wasn't ideal. It wasn't, was it? It wasn't. Paul, we got an air raid in the chat, brother. Look at this. Look at this shit, man. Yeah. We're versing Gold Coast on the 29th. Yeah. 6 days. 6 days. 6 days. We finally get. They just played Fremantle, brother, and they didn't play too well. They lost by a few goals in the end.
Where was the game, champs?
It was in Perth. So they're
so what does that mean?
Well, it means their streak away from home is still a non-streak. They haven't won away from home, and they're still undefeated at home. So we're gonna have to break that one.
Yeah, so it's on brand for Gold Coast at the moment, James. Right? Like, yeah,
essentially
on brand for them.
And what's going on? What's happening? Did you just watch the Fremantle and Gold Coast game? Seeing it was at Optus Stadium, did you go there? Or just watch it on the telly? Or you don't watch Perth teams, even though you live in Perth? Optus Stadium, brother. Did you say you went to Optus Stadium when you drove past it, or what's the go there, man?
I went past for work just because I had to work in Perth, but actually, I'm going there next month, so maybe let me see if there's a game on while I'm over there, because that could be a shout. But it does look like the outside of the stadium, it's beautiful because it's the first thing you see like heading into Perth. Yeah. From the way I went anyway. But yeah, it wasn't actually too bad, man. Perth reminded me a little bit of like a Melbourne if it was like 90, like in the 90s, I reckon, just because it's not as built up, but everything's gridded. Got the lovely river there. Like it's actually quite a nice place.
So you're saying they're 30 years behind us?
Yeah, pretty much.
Marty, third until today, but we're now fifth. Suns next week, so we'll find ourselves in the top four again, hopefully. Who is going to play? Probably not. I don't know. We'll save that for during the week because there's a few, we're wondering if like Pendles, Richards, Elliot, Myercheck, not Elliot, but more so Myercheck, these players are going to be back. So we maybe Caleb and I might talk about it in our Pies Eyes podcast as well, which we're hoping to shoot early this week. I have lived in Melbourne, says Anthony. Hi, lads. Mark, up on the sunny coast, it's still freezing. Damn. It was actually nice and sunny here as well today, brother. Did you get your rig out while you were mowing the lawn or what?
Nah, no coconut oil. But I did flirt with the idea. And I was actually saying, like, it's crazy how much you climatize because I only had a T-shirt went to Chatty today and, like, it was 7 degrees or something. when I checked the weather app at 10 o'clock this morning. So yeah, it's funny how you acclimatise to those type of things, because if that's January, man, you're pretty much rugged up and saying this is freezing.
Yeah. Mark, that's a serious beard you've got there. And a mo as well. That's serious, brother.
That is serious.
You have to buy Kayo for Gold Coast game. Or you can do what I do and use Caleb's Kayo.
You wanna give the rundown about the Kayo account with for the viewers and understand what a shambles it is?
So Caleb generously gave his details to 3 or 4 of the boys. And it just so happens every now and then, once in a blue moon, all 4 of the boys want to use Caleb's account to watch footy when it can only hold 2 viewers at one time. And what makes it worse is Caleb doesn't have access to the email for Kayo anymore and can't change the password to block said other friends from watching footy. And these guys, some of these other guys who watch footy on Caleb's account, they're part-timers. They're casuals, I would say. So it's disrespectful when I get the fucking notification on TV saying exceeded viewers limit, because I know it's going to be me, Caleb, and then someone else named Hayden, but we won't talk about him any more than that, huh?
Mate, and oh my God, he's a banana. I love him, but he's a banana, man. He's the most fair-weathered fan. He'll only come about in September, and he'll just exceed the limit, and we've all got a group chat, and we all just start hounding each other for whoever to get off. But now the boys are pretty all right with the live streams that they've been listening. But last year, it was a Royal Rumble. Like every 5 minutes, you'd keep getting kicked off. It was toxic as, and the group chat would be popping off.
It sure was war.
Yeah.
Perth heaps better, bro. Heaps better. Guys, I reckon we'll give it a 3-minute warning. We'll start the pie performers in 3 minutes. And for those who are here already, thank you. And yeah, we're pretty much just going to do a mid-season pie performers sort of review. So I'm expecting, I was speaking to Caleb pre-stream, I'm expecting there to be some variation in some of our interpretations when it comes to some of the ratings of the players, just because we're not judging a player based on one game. We're judging on players based on their season.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? It's going to be interesting in the chat. And in between,
we were pretty we came off scot-free last pie performance, didn't we? We sort of got through that unscathed, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. But it's always a good one. I don't know, man. The pie performers, it's the only one that I kind of get a little bit nervy on. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you want to tell the viewers some good news on what you're planning on doing Saturday regarding the game?
Yes. For the viewers here, we're going to do a watch along. Caleb's got a game. I'm sort of semi-retired now, so I don't have that commitment. But Caleb has a game. So you, brother, you're going to try get home or come over, or what's your play? Because we're going to do the watch along for the Gold Coast game, guys. And yeah, so my game, pretty much every game after that as well, hopefully. Yeah, so game should finish pretty much as the game starts. So I'll be rushing home, champ, because it is just closer from the ground that I'm playing at. Yep. Maybe I'll be full kitted. Maybe I'll still be in my footy boots, man. Unless we're getting smashed, I might just grab the bags, man. 3/4 time, get the fuck out of there. But nah. In all seriousness, should make it for at least probably second quarter onwards. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to it, and that will be a regular occurrence as far as watch-alongs are concerned. But Noel, maybe if Wooden Spoon Data is in the chat at some point tonight, maybe he can look into this for you. Maybe it's a video idea for him later in the future. What would the latter be if the halftime scores were final? That's a very enticing topic, isn't it? Yeah, that's not definitely that it matters, but it's just the point of interest, right? Yeah, it's definitely a Woody type of question. Beyond our analytical skills. So yeah, we'll leave that. Hey man, leave it to the coaches. Leave it to the coaches, man. Okay, I think I'm ready. We're 20 seconds away. I will pop up the first person that we will be assessing based on their season. And we're going to start with Charlie Dean. So guys, if you haven't been here before, we're going to do a rating and then we're going to confer in a chat as to whether people agree. Greatness, you've made it just in time. We're actually just about to start. I hope you're well, man. How have you been without Collingwood or Pies footy this weekend? No VFL, no AFL for the whole week, obviously. But yeah, guys, so we're going to get started. We've got Charlie Dean. Talking about Charlie Dean's season so far. What are his stats suggest? What does his role say? So we know he's come in as a third key tall behind Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe or Billy Frampton, and sort of playing that third string in the back line. He's had some tough games. He's had that game against Sam Darcy, which we've brought up many times before. But he's I felt like the last two games in particular, being Melbourne and North Melbourne, I feel like he's starting to find his feet a little bit more, starting to understand his role and find his strengths at AFL level. And I find one of his strengths at AFL level is his composure with the ball, which has been something I've noticed early on, hoping he can continue in that way. He's averaging a 1.5 intercept marks per game. I'm hoping at some point we can also get that to 2 as a third key tall defender. That would be massive. It just sounds nice, more rounded out. Yeah, so those are pretty much the notes I've had. We have to bear in mind he's also had a limited amount of games this season, probably a handful of games, 5 or 6 now.
Yeah.
He got exposed, brother, early in the year against the likes of the St Kildas and the Sydneys, and then got dropped. But he's come back, and I'm actually really optimistic that he can become a full-time contributor in the Collingwood back line moving forward, offensively and defensively. I was going to give him, look, I'm not going to go too crazy, brother. I think I'm just going to go 5 out of 10 for this man so far. Not a pass mark, because the pass mark is 6, right? Or 5.5. What do we say, brother?
Yeah, pass mark is a 6. So you're saying he's just a little bit under average, but he's showing good signs there.
Starting to show something.
Yeah. Look, do I agree? I guess if you do look at it from a season perspective, then maybe a 5 out of 10 is a reasonable mark. My initial thoughts would be like a 6 out of 10. Like he's probably just hit the pass mark, especially in the couple of recent games. And I know that the recency bias can kind of play a little bit into it, Champs. But I reckon, he's gotten a lot better. And I could back it a 6. Maybe if we split the difference of 5.5, because he is showing good signs there. So maybe a 5.5.
You want a 5.5? So people in the chat, 4, 6.5, 7.5. Zach, can you explain the 7.5? Explain the 7.5. 6, 5, and Marty, maybe you can explain what that 3.5 is about. I think a 5.5. Yeah, 5.5. And yeah, if I could summarize his season up until this point, showing signs. 2 words, showing signs. Starting to show signs. 3, Rupert. 3. That's harsh. But yeah, okay, 5.5 for Mr. CD. Brother, who would you like on the big screen? Who do you want to summon for your first?
I don't know. Who do we start with, Champs? Who do we start with? You started with Charlie Dean. Maybe we'll start off with some lesser players and kind of build into it. Give me one of my favorite players. Give me Reef to start off with, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Go on.
I love that. How good is that jersey? Like, I would love us to play a couple more games in that. Well, that was a preseason jersey, wasn't it? Am I not mistaken?
Oh, it's been used in season, but I think we used it in a showcase game. I can't remember what it was for. Maybe someone in the chat can remind us.
Enlighten us. Yeah, needs to be worked into the into the Collingwood home and away fixture a little bit more often. But anyway, enough of that. Reef McInnes, I think he brings a lot to us in the spurts of games he's played for us so far. He's only played 7 games, 12 goals for the season. He's actually 1.7, is averaging 1.7 goals at the moment. 1.9 goals he was averaging prior to the North Melbourne game, which would have put him in the top 10 players for his size. So in that key forward area. So that, obviously smaller sample size, but does talk about his efficiency in front of goals. He's averaging also 3 scoring involvements, and he's got the 6.1 disposals, which is kind of you'd expect from some guys playing a sub that's coming in. One area of improvement I would like to see him lift in. He's not getting a lot of, for someone who's so quick, champ, he's actually only getting 0.1 tackles inside 50. And if you actually look at the statistics about other Collingwood forwards, a lot of them are quite high for their size in inside 50. So I think if he's going to come work into the game and become more predominant forward for us, that needs a lift in an aspect for Reef McInnes. But I love the energy he brings, loves the tackle and pressure. But I've got him as a 6.2 to start off, champ, just slightly above average, because I don't think we would have that high of an expectation of him coming in and averaging a 1.7 goals thus far in the season. And he's expecting just above average. So I reckon a 6.2 is quite fair.
6.2. What do we say? 1.7 goals, brother? Average?
Yeah, 1.7. Yep.
And he's been on his time on ground. So how many times has he been a sub this year? Let's see.
I think like 3 or 4.
And you only want to give him a 6.2, brother? Nearly 2 goals a game.
Well, I did originally have him at 6.5, champs, but sometimes I like to chop and change.
42% against North Melbourne, 45% against Adelaide, 10% against Port, and 20, yeah. So 3 games as a sub, averaging only 2 goals a game. So you had him initially as a 7, you said, brother?
I had him at 6.5 at originally.
Fuck, man. I couldn't move past giving him less than a 7.5, given his role, limited opportunity. 4 goals against West Coast, which is obviously 3 goals. Sorry, 2 goals against Adelaide, and then 1 against North. Fuck. What are we saying, man?
Well, I love the man. So if you're gonna put him a 7, I'm not gonna argue. Did you say 7 or 7.5?
7.5.
I reckon. Let's. All right, 7.5 is a little bit high, but yeah, why don't we just go with 7? We'll go with 7.
This year was Reef's season to lift, being consistent player in the main side. Hasn't done that, even though he has ability, but we need to see him take action of his talents. 5. I understand that, but like 2 goals a game with limited opportunity, I just feel like what more can you ask of Reef McInnes, guys? 7, 4, 6, 4. Caleb said 6.5. 6, brother, did you say? Sorry.
Yeah, 6.5.
Fuck. 7. 7?
Lock it in, Eddie. Lock it in. We'll warm into it.
McInnes has kicked at least a goal in every game this year, playing a minimum of 5 games. There you go. All right. Reef, looking forward to you in the second half of the season, my brother. I think I took your man off you again this weekend, brother, if I'm being honest.
What, IQ?
IQ, baby. I changed so many thumbnails today, which you guys will see, but I forgot to change this guy. He looks like an NPC in this one, doesn't he?
Yeah, man. There's a lot going on. The do-rag, the fact that he's almost kissing the ball, the frank facial feature. Yeah, but his eyebrows look whack in that as well. They look like they're laminated on. But anyway, but that's enough of that bullshit.
IQ.
Get into the top champs.
IQ 1.1 intercept marks per game and 13 disposals per game versus 16 last week. Obviously, some drop-offs in both those realms relative to last year. The intercepts are the big one, but we always, I guess, highlight that Quayno will always be a victim to his role because that's all he's really playing in the team. He's got a role that asks him to do a job and ensure that his small forwards don't get on top of the game, which they very rarely do. It just so happens that the ball's probably falling his way less and less at the moment. He was quite good against North Melbourne. I thought himself, along with the whole Collingwood team, transitioned the ball very well from end to end, and Quayno played a crucial role in those link-up chains. He got 3 coaches' votes against the Eagles, brother. But I don't remember what he did. I don't know if he did much. I'm looking at the game. He didn't. Nothing off the stat sheet was incredible. I don't think he even had an intercept mark to his name. He got 3 coaches' votes. But that was more of just an interesting thing to note, guys. I don't know what you remember from IQ's game against West Coast. I'm just going to give him a pass mark. Just a 6. IQ 6.
I don't know, champ. Like, you know how much I love him. But yeah, you can't deny that. Look, he's down his intercept marking. Has he been as impactful on the one-on-ones as he has in previous years? I don't know. It could be. I know we always talk about his. It's not his fault if the ball is getting kicked to him, and that's why we're not being able to show his one-on-one ability. But do you think, if we look back at past seasons, that this is a pass mark season for IQ? Or would you think it would be just, I'm not saying like he's like, I think it'd just be just a little bit under a pass mark, like a 5.8. I know it's a little bit nitpicky, but like if we were to look at his season last year to this year, you would have thought he could have been growing even further. So that's the only reason. I'm not going to die on a hill for it. Like, we can write down 6, but I would like to see him continue to show form like he has in previous years, and especially get those intercept mark numbers back up. He's averaging 1 this year compared to 2 last year, so that's need to lift a little bit, as well as Mark says, smells great apparently. So
I think he actually has like his own cologne that he doesn't sell, but he uses it and puts it on before the game. Yeah, I can read. Hey,
he does a mix between a couple, right? I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can accept a 5.8. Like, even in the preseason, I was saying, is Isaac can he be in all Australian contention again this year? And he's definitely not that player. So, given those expectations going into the season and his slow start to the year as well, I can accept the 5.8, brother. I can accept the 5.8. Apparently, he keeps 50 bottles of cologne in his locker. Apparently,
that's piss up. Let's go Markov, champs. Let's go Markov. Oh, wow. So Markov, keep it in the defender theme at the moment. But look, he's 9.9 disposals average this year. He averaged 12.1 last year for us. The biggest thing that, like, looking at him is his presence when he's in the defense. It feels like he's not rebounding the ball as nearly as much as he did last year. He's only doing 1.1 rebounds from 50s. This year he's averaging, champs, and that's his second lowest in his career. His kicking efficiency is also down. It's dropped 17% from last year to 62.5%. So I feel like his impact from going on the halfback hasn't worked. And I won't even touch on when he went up forward. I think that was a little bit of a cock up there. I know he played forward for Richmond, but didn't really work. His running patterns didn't work. So we'll eliminate those games from that. What I do love about him, he brings the energy, champ. Brings a lot of energy. He's just a good player that I reckon when he's in your side, he'll be that bloke that's joking around in the warm-up, making you not think about the game and all that stuff. So I love him for the energy side, but this year is definitely not to the aspect that he was last year. I've got him down as a 4.5 champ. And I don't know how he fits back into the side. Like, obviously he's out because of the back issue, but when we get a full healthy squad, what is it really going to look like moving on, having Frampton being picked, Charlie Dean, if you can have Ford come in better form, So there's a lot of moving parts with the team at the moment, and a full healthy Collingwood squad will be putting pressures on guys like Markov and Charlie Dean to really perform. So I've got him down as a 4.5, champs.
Yep, lock it in. 4.5 for Mr. Oleg. Has been disappointing relative to the revelation that he was last year, coming into the side as a late signing. And just quickly on Ultimate Greatness, let's not forget about IQ playing Murphy's role at the start of the season, struggled, and now that Dean has come into the role, whereas also Frampton played that role as well, it's been a win-win for both players. Markov has not been great, has tripped over some hurdles in the process, but he's back to being a fringe player. 4.5, and that's for the stash.
And one of these ones, huh? Champs?
Yeah, just one of those as well.
Oh, man, I love it.
The energy, man.
Yeah.
Let's go. Where is he? Where's this Frank Hunt? Here we go. There he is. Johnny Noble. Averaging 20 disposals per game, which is roughly around the same. His disposal efficiency is up by 4% relative to last year, which I think is imperative for him to remain in the side. That's what we need from Johnny Noble off the halfback flank, to have clean ball use to help us with our defensive chains. I made a video yesterday, brother, about how we are in the bottom 4 for ball movement right now from the back half. And the last 4, brother, get this right. So 23, 22, 21, the grand finalists were all top 4 sides for defensive half ball movement. Before that, the stat isn't available. So what that means is it's probably pointing to the fact that it's going to be very hard for a team, Collingwood in this situation, to be a grand finalist if we're a bottom 4 side in defensive half ball movement. So John Noble is a big factor in it, especially with Jack Crisp and Nick Dacos not featuring off the halfback flank anymore. And they've obviously moved into a full-time role within the midfield. I think that's why John Noble's so important. Big game against the Lions when he came back in. He had 24 touches. He had a 29-touch game against the Crows, which was the 3rd most in his career. He had 2 intercept marks and 2 goal assists. I think that was his 100th game, brother, by the way, his milestone game.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, he only had 8 touches against North, which was very interesting. It's a very low number. I think that was one of his lowest in his career as well to date when starting on field. I'm going to give John Noble a 7.
A 7. Oh, it's testing my memory. I think early on the season, if we're looking at it holistic, he did have a lot of disposal issues, champs. His disposal efficiency was quite bad. One of them I remember quite, not fondly, but I do remember is when he turns it over to Darcy Moore, which then that kind of turned momentum the other way in what game was that, champs? But I just remember a lot of crucial key turnovers. What did you have, a 7? Yeah. I could go with 6.5 just because, maybe early on in the season he was having those disposal efficiency issues. Would you back that in, or would you want to hold on a 7?
I feel like his disposals have gotten worse over the course of the season versus I thought earlier in the season he was outstanding, and he's just had a few funky games here and there recently. I still think 6.8. 6.8.
We'll agree there at a 6.5. No, okay, chuck a 6.8. Chuck it down.
7, 7.5, 5.5. Okay, brother. What do you got?
All right, let's go. Sully.
Sully, you get.
Here he is, the man. So averaging 15.3% disposals. He's got actually quite good in the score involvement department at 5.1. But his kicking efficiency is quite bad. He's 52.5% at the moment, which isn't great. And one thing that we really wanted to highlight in going into that North game is, we see what he can do on the inside, but he needs to develop an outside game to ensure that he's going to be able to hold a spot and keep out someone like a Tom Mitchell who's, really fighting for his position. Because, I think he's done well, but has he done enough, champ, to hold his spot in a healthy Collingwood side? I don't think he has at this point. I think Tom Mitchell will come back in, but he has done. He's exceeded my expectation in the sense of, didn't know much about him coming into the side, and he's done a reasonable job for us, champ. I've given him a 6.5 because of that, but I don't think he comes in and holds his spot. I still believe he's a fringe player, but if you're going to look at it and rate it off what his, expectation on coming into the season, I think he's exceeding my expectations there.
Yeah, I agree with the 6.5. And I just wanted to add to your point, brother. So you said he's sitting at 52% kicking efficiency.
Yeah.
That becomes even more evident, or when you see that he's only averaging 5 kicks a game. Whereas you look at Jack Crisp, he's having 10 kicks a game, going at 56% kicking efficiency. To only be kicking it 5 times and going at 52% points to the fact that he's probably still taking his time to adjust to the end. I don't know if he's a bad kick. I mean, I don't think anyone in the AFL is necessarily a bad kick. It's just whether you can make the right decision under the pressure. So,
yeah,
that's
look,
probably
to add to that point further. Against the D's, he had 9 handballs, 4 kicks at 61.5%. So obviously a lot of those were handballs. And then if you want to talk about, last week's game against North, he had the 14 touches, 9 of those were handballs. So obviously he's an inside player, but his kicking game needs to develop. And if you're running at such a low efficiency with low kicks, you can see that can really hurt, and maybe he hasn't developed. Like I'm saying, that outside game, normally he's just shoveling the ball around. But to my point before, he's exceeded my expectations of when he came into the squad. So that's why I've given him a 6.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. 6.5 is fair. I think everyone else is pretty much on the same level. 5.9, 6. David reckons 4. Won't be the team long. And to your question, I think if the squad is fully healthy, brother, come final series, I think he just misses, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'd back that.
It's unfortunate, but game's a game, man. Some would say, huh?
Yeah. Just look at Noble last year. If you want to talk about unfortunate, that's like to the T.
So get up, bro. He can still get up, man. Love that cunt. The smiling assassin, but it's not.
Is that a Photoshop smile on his face, or
nah, that bro. He was actually smiling while going for it. Once he got up there, he was smiling. It was good.
I love it.
It was good. So what do we know about size from a number standpoint? He averaged 20 disposals last year. He's down to 16, and he's having his worst disposal to clanger rate in his career. So he's conceding a clanger once every 6 disposals, which is his worst in his career thus far. He had a big bounce back game against North, obviously having 23 disposals. Took that specky, 15 contested possessions, was summoned to the midfield at halftime, and was a big factor in why we're able to come back from 54 points down. He had 7 disposals against Essendon earlier this season, which was his lowest in his career, barring a game last year where he got subbed out very early due to a knee injury. 7 disposals was his lowest disposal tally in his career, and that was this season against North. He's been thrown all around the ground. He's played halfback flank. He's played on the wing. He's played fucking on ball now. There's a bit of vitriol around him this year. Does he retire? Does he not? Yet to be seen. Can he maintain the form he's in right now that he's had over the last couple of weeks? We'll find out. I think amidst all of that, I'm going to give Steele a 5.5. So just falls short of the pass mark, in my opinion. Just short.
Yeah. And that's a 5.5 based off. Look, I'm not going to add much to it. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, if you look at it before the season, you probably thought he was going to be a little bit better than what that he has been. But that being said, if he can play games like he did against North Melbourne, that number's going to, increase quite a bit, right? Like, what did we give him last week in the Pies performance chance? We gave him a high number, pretty much like an 8 9s, you know what I mean? So, it's just to see if he can hold his spot. Not he was going to hold his spot, but like where he's been able to lock down a position because he's been playing a lot of roles, halfback, wing, into the center. So hopefully we just, find some consistency in his game and continue how good he's been in previous years.
So we'll sit on the 5.5, brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So that's a good question. Greatness. Yeah, we're factoring the players' expectations and the role they're asked to play in the team. So some players might get a better rating. It doesn't necessarily mean that they've absolutely played better than player X and player Y and player Z. It's relative to the role.
Yeah, so that's why I've given Sullivan a 6.5. Like, if you're looking at it, a whole scope of a team, he's probably a lot lower than a 6.5. But his expectation going into Collingwood before he played a game was, what are we going to get out of him? And he's exceeded that expectation for us, so that's why he gets a 6.5.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah. Let's throw up the Braz on the screen for us.
You couldn't keep him off the screen for any longer, huh?
Nah, look, we've been going for 36 minutes. What the fuck? But yeah, anyway, the Braz, where do we start? Well, he gives us such a gutsy performance each week, and that's obviously evident in terms of, just North Melbourne. We look back last week and his ability to come in and in those last fourth quarter provide us with so much effort and pressure and tackles. It's really his one wood. So this year he's been averaging 18.4 disposals. He's got 3.3 spoils, which is a career high for him, and that puts him 10th within the medium-sized defender category. He's also 4.6 on rebound 50s per game, which is his second career high. His intercept marks are 1.4 at the moment, which is kind of around his average mark. And he's starting to get onto more scoring involvements. And that's obviously you've seen him a lot coming around from a handball and booting the ball long with that left foot that he just seems to be thumping it every time. So those numbers are all going up. And he's obviously bringing a lot more, leadership as well if Moore's out and things like that, right? So I've given him an 8 champs for all he's done this year. I reckon that's pretty fair. What do you reckon?
The Braz 8. The Braz 8. He gives it his all, says David. And I think that's totally fair. Totally fair. Yeah. Totally agree. No qualms. And no shade will be thrown at this man tonight. No shade, brother. Brother, from one specky to another. Let's go, champ.
You want to talk about me wanting to pull up Brazzy up there, but then I just realized you just want to show off your Photoshop ability with the speckies, all the new, images.
Braz's been amazing. I'd give him a 9, as a lot of his value isn't always on the stat sheet. The boys walk taller with him out there. He is definitely a bloke. When you go out on the field with him, you're walking taller with him. Can you give someone 11 out of 10? Maybe. Probably not in the context of the season, but maybe, brother, we're going to have to whip out an 11 out of 10 or a 72 out of 10 at some point this year, huh? Yeah. There's going to be a 72. We've got to do a 72 one, huh? At some point.
Maybe at the end of the season when we can fill the boys in.
Yeah. Okay. So Bobby Hill. What I love about Bobby is he's always looking to do something with his possessions. He's not the biggest accumulator. I think he's averaging 10 disposals per game, but the fact that he's averaging 5.1 score involvements per game, being a career high, points to the fact that he's trying to do as much as he can with the ball. He's averaging a goal and a half and also having an extra shot per game this year. So he could be averaging more than a goal and a half if he was a little bit more accurate. I think he was averaging like 61 or 62% in front of goals last year. He's down at 47% right now. If he can take that in the second half of the year, take that to 2 goals per game, that would put him up with the likes of the Isaac Rankins and the Tyson Stengels and Cody Waitmans of the world. And from last year as well, he was averaging half a goal assist per game. He's nearly averaging 1 goal assist per game right now, which is 11th in the league out of all the forwards who have played more than 10 games this year. And then for that reason, fuck, brother, I've given him a lower rating than I probably I don't really want to say this. I might actually have to change it on the run here.
No.
I think-
Well,
I
what
think
did you
I've
have
got-
originally, and then what are you going to change it to?
I've given him a 7.9, but I feel like I've just convinced myself into giving him an 8.5 after that speech.
Mm.
What do you
I'd
think?
back. Look, his ability to. I know we always talk about him, scoring goals and he needs a lift, but his ability to when the ball hits the ground and if the opposition gets it, the amount of pressure is so quick to chase down, and his pressure acts inside 50 is elite. But also his ability to kick the ball around the ground. The couple of games ago, I think it was against the Demons, he ran at 100% disposal efficiency with like 8 kicks. So he's setting up goals, and I think he's had a good year, and he's starting to be able to set up goals and kick his own goals at the same time, and I'm really liking about his game. And then champs as well, you got to factor in that we've kind of had to really lean on him with checkers out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be happy with an 8.5.
Yeah, let's lock in an 8.5.
Yeah,
I was just reading all that out. Chris reckons 7.5, but that's I went with 7. 7.5's a bit low, brother. Actual brother.
actual brother.
Kareem, what's going on, lad? How are you? Bobby's peaking. He's done so much and give goals away. Gives goals away, like goal assist, yes. I'd say 7.5. He's been inconsistent, but there's always that threat of him playing like he did against North. So is the risky bet you'd like to take? I mean, if he didn't play the way he did against North, he wouldn't be getting an 8.5, but he did. And he almost, I would say he was one of the top 3 players as to why we got that win, which is important for the context of the game. So relative to his role and what he had done in that game and throughout the course of the season so far, 8.5.
Yeah, I love how he's bringing back like really pointing to the ball receiver to where he wants the footy, and he's always moving. It's just like those little things that I really enjoy watching from players. And Bobby Hill does that perfectly. Like he'll call for it low, or he point to the boundary, and that's the ball where he gets it. And he's really bursting out. First 3 steps, he's so quick, and then he's getting hit up quite well. And I just love that part about his game as well, champs.
He's so slippery, eh?
Yeah.
No baby oil on him, though.
Fuck Tom Hawkin, man. But anyway, man. Let's go Kruegs. The man. So where do we start? Well, obviously had that breakout game 2 games ago against the Demons. Scored the 3 goals. Looked absolutely unreal. Made such a good impact on the ground. And, I think we all walked away from that game, or at least Anthony and I did. And fuck, he's actually a lot quicker than I thought he was going to be, right? And what, I might be talking like what his potential is, but what he can give us is quite a traditional key forward, which is we've been missing. So I think his upside for him being in the side is really like the sky's the limit, right? Like he can really come in and help us out. That being said, he's only played 2 games. Last week, only slotted the 1 goal, which brings his average to 2 goals average. Can't really look at his career stats at the moment, but I think based off his game from the Demons, last week a little bit quiet, did get a specky, which was quite nice. I've given him a 6.5. That Demons game, he probably come in, exceeded our expectations, similar to Sullivan. But, another big game last week, he probably would be a little bit higher. But I think, he's come in, past mark 6, a little bit above that based off that Demon support game. But, only 2 game champs. So we'll go with a 6.5.
6.5?
Yeah.
Kruegs as well, guys. 2.5. I know it's there, brother. It's 2 games. I know it's the smallest of sample sizes you can possibly ask for. 2.5 tackles inside 50 per game. And I'm just saying, if you average that, you're on that, brother?
No, I've actually got the statistic. I forgot to read out, champs. My bad. But 2.5 tackles inside 50 would place him first for keys, tackle, like key forwards. So he would rank 1 and he'd rank 4th in the league for forwards in general. So 2.5 tackles, that's a lot of pressure and a lot of things that's a lot of upside that he's showing. Yes, the sample size is 2, so It is skewed, but it is still really good signs from the man.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, brother, I think it talks to the fact that he's sneakily fast on the decks, isn't he?
Yeah. And yesterday, oh no, not yesterday, sorry. It was last week. I forgot the ball got called back. I think it might have got called back to a Bobby Hill or something. And then he thought the game was still in play, and he just ran through and he just absolutely flatlined some bloke. He went to the ground, picked up the ball, then hand passed it over the top, and obviously the ball got called back. But he's got that ability just to be like solid as a rock, quick, and just be able to bump other defenders off like it's nothing.
Yeah, I think, brother. I think with Krueger, when you're being chased down by him, it's like you're in a dream, and Freddy Krueger's behind you, and you're crawling, and you're trying to run as fast as you can, but you're actually running in slow motion, and then he gets you. And for that, 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
I can't give him any less. I don't care if he's played 2 games. I'm so impressed with how he's been able to impact the game in different realms. He surprised me. 7.
Off 2 games. I reckon 6.5 was bang on. It like I think it was 6.5. I think Kareem thinks that was bang on.
Want to know?
All right, James. For the sake of let's go 6.7, and we'll keep it moving. Keep it moving.
All right, 6.7. All right, 6.7. Okay, what have I got? Let's see. Where is this man? This man. Shooter. 4.5 for his 2. No, not 4.5. 6.5. He's like,
hey,
6.5. Okay. Shooter. I feel like, yeah, obviously we know his defensive output. We know how much he defends from the front, how well he does that. He's one of the best in the league, if not the best, as a small forward. I think when there was talks of him underperforming on the offensive front, I feel like he took that personally and he retaliated very well. He's since his, I guess, breakout game offensively against, was it Freo or the Doggies? One or the other. I think it was the Doggies.
Yeah.
He's hit 8 goals in the last 3 games. And that's also while taking into account that he's 5th in the league for 1.8 tackles inside 50 and averaging 1.4 goals, which is the same as last season, which is interesting because obviously coming into a team full of decorated small forwards and I guess throwing Myercheck there, I feel like he's done well. And really, he's turned an average season into, okay, maybe giving up a first-round pick for this man has been a really good decision so far. But that can change. But right now, with all of that factored in, call me crazy, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm giving him a 7.8.
7.8. Look, we did talk about how slow of a start he was this season, and I think the last 3 games is quite evident. I think it was Fly Macrae, and I think it might have been Shooter as well, talking about, you know, his position in Collingwood and what role, and he started playing a little bit deeper, and that's when we started to see him quite fire offensively as well in terms of, you know, his goals and the ability to hit the scoreboard. Whereas, you know, the first half of the year, it was, yes, okay, we know his pressure acts and defensively within the 450 is really good, but can he get it going offensively? And, you know, since that conversation 3 weeks ago, he's really found that, and is showing tremendous upside that he was a good pick. So a 7.8, champ, did you say?
Yep.
Yeah, lock it in, Eddie.
Lock it in. Shooter has improved massively since his first game. He's only getting better and better. I'd say 8.5. Just so close enough, yeah. And that's it. Like, if his role, I don't believe that, and some people might disagree. People think his role is to be a defensive forward. I think he offers more than that, which is why Caleb and I were so harsh on some of his performances. Because if his role genuinely was like a Bo McCreary, I'd give him a 10 out of 10. Yeah, because he'd nail that, right? But he's
But
more
like,
than that. Which is why we got this standard for him.
Yeah. And another reason why, so why would we bring that guy in? Obviously, he's good. Like, his ability to score is good, and that's probably why we brought him in. But if we were thinking about someone who's purely defensive, we kind of got Bo Macrae there, who smashes the stat line, which you'll talk about later, right, champs? Like, his inside 50 tackles, his pressure acts, he's always leading the games, and we've kind of got that guy. So to bring in another one wouldn't really make sense in the greater scheme of things. So that's why we brought him into, like, oh yes, he can work in the system defensively, but also what he brings offensively to us. And he's really trying to find that, or he's found that the last 3 weeks. So yeah, showing tremendous upside, and I think a 7.8 is quite fair.
Done. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Who are you after, brother?
Let's give me Darcy Moore, the captain, champs. The captain, all right?
Yeah.
All right. You don't want to get flamed, but I might get flamed for this review, but we'll get into it. All right. So Darcy Moore, well, you look at the stat line, his stats are quite good. 8.3 spoils, second in the league, 9.1 1%ers, third most in the league, 13.6 disposals. He gets 7.5 intercept possessions. But, champs, this is where it starts going downhill, right? His rebounding game this year, he's only averaging 3.9% rebound 50s compared to a 5.1 last year and 5 2 years ago in 2022. His performance last week proves to me that he can't lock down a key role. Like, Larky was just killing him, absolutely killing him off the first 3 steps, and just made it look so evident. He's Darcy Moore is a type of player that you'd want him on a third key tour, just so he can come across and provide with such good intercept marks and spoiling ability, which is showing that, second in the league in spoils, is elite, right? I've given him a 5.9 out of 10. So slightly under a pass mark, but there's worse players out there, and you'd still want a Darcy Moore in your side regardless, right? So that's why I've given him a 5.9, because without Moore, the Collingwood side looks so much different. So I've given him a 5.9.
Brother, that's overs, man.
You reckon?
What do you reckon? It's 5, bro. His role is he's the captain. He's an All-Australian. He's a premiership captain. And, I mean, if we want to nitpick, right, we're looking at the best intercept markers in the game right now. You've got Sam Taylor and Harris Andrews, which you would argue last year he was in the same – he's cut from the same cloth. They're averaging over 4 intercept marks per game. Liam Jones, 3.5. Charlie Coleman from North Melbourne, nearly 4 a game. He's averaging 2.6 right now. And the rebounding is, brother, the reason why we're struggling to move is maybe because players like Darcy aren't intercepting it as much as we were last year.
That's true. And I think, with Murphy out, that probably adds to the number being down. And also, you got to factor in our rebound numbers would be down as well, because Nick Dacos isn't coming off the half-back line. I reckon that actually probably pays a lot to that we don't really factor in. We don't really talk about it. I only really thought about it today, that like not having Nick Dacos off the half-back is probably another reason
Jack
why.
Cruz.
Yeah, and Jack Cruz is another reason why that we're not rebounding the ball nearly as efficiently as we have. So yeah, look, we can bump him down, champs. I tossed and turned between like a 5, a 5.9. So we can go a 5, champs. But
5.
Yeah,
5. Give the captaincy to Brazzy, man. He's on about 900K. He needs to lift. He can do it. Yeah, he can do it. He can do it. It's clearly been a massive adjustment period without Nathan Murphy, as Caleb just mentioned. The defense has been mixed up. Darcy, Billy Frampton, Jeremy Howe swinging, Oleg Markov, so on and so forth, side bottom. So it's understandable to an extent, but we need more from our skipper in the second half of the year. And it starts against Gold Coast for him. So, yeah, so 5. We'll settle with a 5.
Yeah.
Let's go. Where is he? HH. 2 H's. Harvey Harrison. there was small talks of aspirations for this man. He played 4 games last year, but not massive raps. Like not raps as big as a Reef McInnes or an Ash Johnson or a Nathan Krueger coming into the year, brother. So I think this is why a player like Harvey's taken us all by shock. Admittedly, he's already doubled his appearances, having played 8 games so far already. 9.5 touches per game, but I just feel like he's doing the right things at the right time. He's averaging over a goal per game, and he's had 2 games where he's had 3 goals in both of them. And yeah, H squared. So he's had some massive games, been effective, good running patterns defensively, can obviously get forward as well and kick goals. Relative to his role, 7.8 Harvey Harrison. He's given flexibility and allowed players like Steele Sidebottom to flirt with other positions because we have Harvey Harrison performing as a wingman as well.
Yeah. What did you give him in champ? 7?
7.8.
Oh, 7.8. Sorry, I thought you guys. Yeah, 7.8. Look, going into the season, did you think he was going to perform the way he has?
God, no.
No. So, based off that, I can back a 7.8 because he has exceeded our expectations going into the season.
Yeah. 6, 8, 7. Turbo. Why do they call him Turbo? Is he that fast, or what's the reference there? Greatness. Sounds like you got the inside scoop. He gets a 9, come from nowhere, and has already been so impactful. Just like the hyphen does the important things on the stat sheets you don't see. Exactly.
Yeah.
9.5 touches doesn't sound like a lot, but obviously, brother, we've seen him play, and it's very good.
Yeah. All right, let's lead into the next player that kind of exceeded expectations as well. Let's go Joe Richards. Did you not have a photo of him? You don't have a photo of him, do you?
Wait, let me hold on. Give me 1 second, man. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I think I got something.
Oh, no.
I'll give you a lookalike. I'll give you a look. That's Joe Richards.
All right.
I thought I forgot someone. Fuck.
Joe Richards. Oh, anyway. You've thrown me off now, but it's in the bin. But Joe Richards, 3 games so far, but he has exceeded my expectations so much. He's doing 17.3 disposals, 2.3 tackles, 21.3 pressure acts, and at the moment he's equal 5th for tackles inside 50 for forwards, which is quite good. And his ability when he was in there, especially in that West Coast game, to get up off the forward 50 arc and push into the contest and then turn around and beat his man on the way back was quite evident. And he got the 1 goal that game, 3 goal assists and 8 scoring involvements, which was his breakout game. Very, very good. And he really exceeded my expectations and yours as well, Anthony. I've given him an 8.5 just because, I know it's only 3 games, but I really think he can be part of the final 22 going into the final. So that's my belief, and hopefully he comes back from injury soon. So I'm going 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5 is totally fair. I think Joe Richards has been outstanding, guys. It's not Will Parker. I forgot to do a thumbnail for Joe Richards, unfortunately. How dare I? But yeah, 8.5 is completely reasonable. 7.5, 6.75, Marty. That's harsh. Early nickname that you gave him. He was super quick and was so fast he kept pinging his hamstrings. Dean Wade had to run, so it's a bit of a fun nickname I got for him. I like it, Greatness. I like it. 8.
Yeah. James, do we just go on to Will Parker since you've got him on the screen? Or was that Joe Richards? I'm not too sure.
Have you got Will Parker?
I do have Will Parker.
Oh, yeah. Let's nut him out now, brother.
Hey, that's kind of sus.
Pause.
That was kind of sus, man. But look, Will Parker, 3 disposals, 5 pressure acts, 2 tackles a game. He hasn't really provided us too much at AFL level thus far. And for him to come in as a sub, he's not as versatile as a Joe Richards who can come in as a sub. Or, who else do we have as a sub sometimes? Like you could even argue Markov because he can swing forward. He doesn't have that versatility to come off the, he just plays that defender role. He does show good upside in terms of the VFL, getting 16.4 averages and he's getting 3.4 tackles in the back line. Little bit of I can't even say it a letdown because he hasn't been given a proper run, champs. But I think the games he has played hasn't lived up to the expectation that I had for him. And there's not much information out there. Like, yes, we know he's a cricketer, but besides that, we know not much, right? Besides the games you can watch from the VFL, was thrusted into the AFL quite surprisingly. But with all that bullshit, champs, I've given him a 3 out of 10. So, yeah, I'm not going to write him off as a pick. I think he could show a tremendous upside. He's doing well in the VFL. It just hasn't translated into the AFL with the opportunity he had, even though it was quite slim pickings.
3.5. But that's pretty stiff for someone who's hardly... It's 3. For someone who's been given a chance, lad.
I know he hasn't been given a chance, but, like, you got to get what you're working with. He didn't really do too much in the 2 games. Given, huh? And like he's not versatile enough to play any other roles when he's out on the field, right? Like, yeah, like I think that game when he came on as a sub, like to get him on the ground, we had to take off. I think was it Noble we took off, champ?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Noble, right? And then like. I know he had a couple clangers that game, but maybe you just leave him out on there. Like, that's probably the only way you can work him in the game. So that's why I've given him kind of a lower score. But I'm not saying he's going to be a dud or anything. I think he still has good upside. It's just at the moment with what he was given, maybe a 3 out of 10.
4. Just because of limited opportunity. Category B rookie, brother. Hasn't had a full preseason. Just played cricket. Had his last 2020 cricket match 100 days at 4.
I know that. But Collingwood just thrusted him into the selection, right? Like, that's why like his expectation of him being rushed in, I thought he was going to make more of an impact. But look, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Like, we'll go a 4 out of 10 and give him, we can review it if he gets more games later on in the season.
All right. Eats one. I have. Where is he? Mr. Triceps, brother. Mr. Triceps. Will Hoskin-Elliot. Mr. Fix It. Mr. Reliable. Call it what you want it. He's averaging close to a goal a game. 0.8 goals per game. Hasn't done that since 2019, where he averaged bang on a goal per game, which is his best season in his career, arguably. Obviously, we know his impact to have ability to kick goals and have impacts on the scoreboard. It heavily depends on where he obviously resides in the team. Sometimes in the back line, sometimes forward, sometimes wing. But nevertheless, 0.8 goals per game. He's been massive as far as experience is concerned on the field this year in the absence of experienced players, which we've lacked, obviously. His best game this year was against Port Adelaide, where he had 21 touches, 3 goals, 2 contested marks. And while I'm doing all this, I have a quiz for the chat. What is Hoskin-Elliott's best goal return in a game? And who was it against, if you guys remember? But while you guys think about that in the chat, I'm going to give the hyphen an 8.
I reckon he's been good, champs. I reckon he's been good. So I'm not going to think you summed it up pretty well. So let's just keep it moving, champs. Do you want to go again, considering I've gone 2 in a row?
Yeah.
So even it up.
Yeah. So the hyphen gets an 8. Has been unreal this year. And we move on to... Where is he? No, wrong person. Sorry. Cripper. Crispy. Oh, hold on, man. He kicked 6 against Freo. That's right, greatness. He kicked 6 against Freo in 2018, which is the biggest goal tally return in a single game. So man, this guy knows everything, man. Chance?
Doesn't he have the inside scoop? Is his ultimate greatness? Is that the one with the inside scoop?
Yeah, he's got the inside scoops. He loves going to the trainings as well. He goes to the VFL training, the AFL training. Like he loves it. I love that for him as well. So we got the -8. We moved on to Jack Crisp, who's another older head who has also been significant in the absence of midfield stars like Pendlebury, De Goey, Tom Mitchell. He's come in and he's been asked to do a job. He only got dropped early in the season. He's averaging 20 touches per game. He already has more coaches' votes this year compared to last year. He has 27 coaches' votes compared to the 24 last year. And he's had his most centre bounce attendance percentage since the started to be collected in 2021. So that's obviously because of the absences of the midfielders, which I've alluded to. He's averaging a career high 4.3 clearances per game. His last best was in 2022, where he averaged 4.2. 6.4 tackles per game as well, another career high. And you just can't see him do anything wrong. At the start of the year, he couldn't do anything right. He couldn't stick a tackle. He couldn't knock the ball on efficiently. He didn't want to pick up the ball. He couldn't kick the fucking ball. He was useless. He was borderline useless. And Fly saw that, and he was used as a sub against Brisbane.
Yeah.
He got told that something's not right, and he went back to drawing board, and he's come into the mid-season bye, and he's walking out with the 8.5 for me.
Yeah, he really took that Brisbane game. Mate, his ability now that he's brought to us has been so good with Dacos in there, Pendles, those three in there. They're gonna take us deep into the finals. Yeah, I can back that, man. Like to come back and bounce, be a sub, and then come back and just take it on the chin and provide what he has done to us. Contested ball, provides us tackle and pressure in there. He's been really, really good. So yeah, 8.5, love it.
8.75.
8.7. Hey, give him a 9. I don't care. He's been unreal.
8.75. Some Flyers put the best rocket up his ass because he's fucking flying to the moon right now. So 8.75 for Jack Crisp.
Yeah. All right, let's go Howie.
Oh, what have I got for you, brother? Where is he?
You got to
throw back this one?
Oh, unreal.
I think that was Queen's birthday, this one.
Yeah. Well, How, where do we start with him? He's such a versatile player. We'll start with, his 14.4 disposals. He's averaging 5 spoils a game, which they're always impactful when he comes across. And that's second most for medium-sized defenders. Brazzy is ranked 3 in medium-sized defenders as well. Just throw that in there as well.
Is this in the entire league?
For medium-sized defenders.
In the league?
Yeah. In the league.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. He's also ranked second champs with 5.5 1% as a game as well for medium-sized defenders. So he's been really well. 1.7 intercept marks per game. And last week, I just love that so much that he can still come in and get swung forward, which we've been calling for.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Fuck that.
What
did you say about Jeremy Howe playing forward in the past? Fuck all that, man.
No. I said he's good forward. We just need him in the back line. And, it was good to see that our back line was still able to hold out without him. But, it was good seeing him cut about in the forward line. I liked watching that shit. You know what I mean? So he's been good, champs. I've given him an 8 out of 10.
Okay, yeah. Hey, and I just want to add to your points, bro. His spoils and all that, 1%ers, his averages would have been higher if he wasn't subbed out in the first 10 minutes against West Coast. So that's huge.
Yeah.
What do you want? An 8?
Yep.
And he started slow in the year as well. So 8 out of 10 is good. What's everyone saying? 8.2. Champion. How 8. 7.5. Peace, bro. Peace. Yes, let's go with an 8. 8.5 How, so consistent, reliable. Another one that makes his teammates walk taller. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. My one. Frampton, Mr. Billy,
Mr. Chili.
Mr. Lockdown Harris Andrews in the grand final. Our Lord and Saviour. So, Billy Frampton's season to this point, it's been in a bit of a roller coaster, and it's not been all on his own doing. There's been role changes from back to forward and forward to back. So, he came in against St Kilda, and from there onwards, he played St Kilda, Brisbane, Hawthorn, and had 12 intercept marks within those 3 games. 3 average intercept marks across those 3 games is top 10 in the league if he was to uphold that. But obviously, with the move into the forward line, that skewed his intercept marking stats. He even had coaches' votes in 2 of those games, being very important games, must-win games against St Kilda and Brisbane, I think it was. St Kilda and Brisbane, he had coach. 5 for Brisbane, 5 for the Saints, and 4 against the Hawks, which is... Sorry, I've just completely cooked that. 5 intercept marks for the Saints and 4 against the Hawks, and he's had coaches' votes in 2 of those 3 games. That's his early start. That's his early impact coming into the team. And then he moves to forward on a needs basis, 0 impact almost. And we called for change. At the very latest,
I would say negative impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Negative impact relative to what he's able to provide in the back line as well. And we were calling for changes to be made during the Bulldogs game. And then we thought, all right, he'll go in the back line at the start of the North game. Doesn't happen. It took to halftime and a 54-point deficit to move him into the back line. Some would say that was another important decision that Fly made to ensure that we come back. But yeah, despite moving forward, he's still averaging career highs in his intercept marking, which is a positive because that's obviously skewed his intercept mark average stats. I'm going to give... Look, Billy's had been basically nullified by the coach in the last 2 games. I'll give him a 7.
No. He's got a... Champ, I reckon, look, you get asked to play for what your role is with the coach, and throwing him in the forward line has fucked him, right? Like, it's no good. I still think Key when he's down back, he's an 8, champ. I reckon, like, and I'm not going to downgrade how good he's been in the back line because of his performances in the forward line. Like, I reckon he's been really good and he's found a home and he's provided he's really rose to the occasion because, you know, if you think about Nathan Murphy, you know, what happens with him going out, Frampton kind of fueled that role. Yes, Charlie Dean's come in, but if we didn't have Frampton being able to lock down a spot, champ, Charlie Dean would have had to come in and play on a better forward, and we could have potentially got killed even more. So I think, you know, Frampton has done a great job, and I reckon an 8 for his found position in the back line. So, well, would you agree with that, or?
I thought when you were like, no, I thought you were going to give him less. I thought I was.
Nah. You know, I like Billy, but yeah, I reckon an 8 is fair.
An 8.
But for the expectations of what he had going into the season, I think an 8 is fair. Like, he's into some marks, champs.
I know we don't reference other players because they have their own roles, but the other players we've given an 8 or more so far, the Braz, with Mr. Norm Smith and Jack Crisp and the Hyphen and Howe. Do you put? We're
talking relative for their position they're playing there, right? But I see what you're putting down. Look, why don't we split it and we'll go 7.5?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Look, 8, 7 needs to play backline. What? Anthony, 3 that's outrageous. That's a violation, Anthony. What water are you drinking in Perth? 6, 7.5. 7.5 will move, brother.
7.5. Let's keep it moving. All right. Let's. This one will be a quick one. We'll go TJ. You said you got a new fighter for the man.
I do. It was difficult, but surely this is a little bit better.
I don't know. It is better. It is better. But we keep it moving, James. Check. I don't know. I feel
All
like
right, man. Focus, man. Come on.
you keep breaking him, man. All right, look, he's only played the one game for us. So you have to go off his rating as of last week, champ. We gave him a 5 out of 10 last week, had 5 disposals. We gave him the pass mark was 2 intercept marks, and he did get that last week. And I do think he does show a lot of upside for how young he is. Only the one sample size, going off what we gave him last week on the Pies performance, was a 5 out of 10. He gets a 5 out of 10 here as well.
Do you have him is he a smoky to be in the final series, or you don't believe just yet?
No, I don't think he's a chance of being in the finals. But I see him in a lot of upside in Collingwood's future moving forward. But I don't think he sneaks a spot unless there's a lot of injuries. What are you alluding to? You alluding to he could potentially be a sniff?
I think his raw athletic ability and dare, if you want to call it, might sneak his way into the backline in the finals. It's more of a hope than a belief. I think he brings a lot of entertainment to the side, but that's that. So what do we say, brother? 5 for TJ, for Tao.
Yeah.
Gia. What have I got now, brother? Where is he? Oh yeah, this is cool. Where is he, brother? Where is he? Bomac. Muscles. Mr. 150 bench press in the off-season. Top 5 in tackles inside 50 for all forwards in the league. He's averaging 4 centre-bounce attendances per game, but that hasn't had any impact on his disposals in an upwards trajectory. It's sort of remained the same at around the 8 disposal mark. In these last 3 games, he's averaged 28 tackles, with one of those games being 13 tackles. He's had a game, I think he had one game recently, or was that 13 tackle game, where it was the second highest rated pressure game for the season by any player. So there's that as well. And he locked down Luke Davies-Uniacke in that second half. I think in the first half, LDU had 20 disposals. In the second half, he only had 10. So to me, look, brother, we've said we'd love to see Bo get more disposals, but maybe he doesn't have the same ceiling as a Lockie Schultz. Clearly, he doesn't have it in him, at least for now. He is a pressure player through and through.
Yeah.
And if that's not enough for the team, then it is what it is. But given his role, I want to give him a 7.5.
7.5. Look,
I had him as a 7.2.
Pardon? Yeah.
I had him as 7.2.
Yeah, I'd be more safe with a 7.2. Just because, like I was saying, I know we always harp on about it, but I just like to see him fire a little bit more offensively. That's just my biggest gripe.
I believe he's still got it. He's still got it.
I don't know if he's still got it, champ. But look, I think he's shown great ability to come in and do, join the center bounces and be a midfielder. And then also what he did on LDU last week, he can really come in, and that can be really handy in finals games where if someone, gets on top of us, we can get him on an Oliver or something like that, right? So an Adams, right? So he does show a lot of upside based off last week's performance. I know he, especially in the middle, man, when he had that game against the Bulldogs running at 33% disposal efficiency isn't the greatest. But look, for his pressure and alone, we'll give him a 7.2 champs. We'll give him a 7.2.
Right. I'll agree with you on the premise that you believe he has more in him than just the pressure that he applies in the game. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll keep a tab on that throughout the rest of the season. 8.5 for Bo. His pressure plays such a large part in our wins. He's also kicked some goals lately too. He's been getting better. Who do you want, lad?
I don't want to cook this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Besides last week, he hadn't scored in a month. Is that correct, champs?
I can do a fact check. Give me one
Yeah,
sec.
just fact check. I think going into the North Melbourne game, he hadn't scored a goal in a month.
All right.
But
Tell you,
it was good to see him hit the scoreboard last week. While you're pulling that up, Jamie, in the background, I'll give me a quick one, and we'll go through Ash Johnson. And then we'll go on to the next one. But look, Ash Johnson going into the preseason, he was scouted and touted as he was going to be the next big thing for us. Like, all the talk was, all the generic, he's trading the house down. Champs, you're going to the preseason. He's performing unreal. You're like, hey, man, like he's him this year. He's going to be, blowing out of the stat line. Unfortunately, as much as I love him, he just hasn't delivered. He lacks confidence at the moment. He's really struggling. And I don't think he's going to be able to get a spot within the side with the likes of Reef McInnes averaging 1.7 goals a game and Krueger showing tremendous upside, tremendous upside against the Demons and even last week, right, cutting about. And then we've got the likes of Checkers coming back. From what we had believed in him going into the season, I don't like picking on players and when they're down, but I unfortunately had to give him a 1 out of 10 champ because he's just so far under-delivered from my expectation going into the season.
Yeah. 1 out of 10?
And we had a high bar going in. We really did.
1 out of 10.
Yeah.
And FYI, before last week, Bo hadn't kicked a goal in his last 1, 2, 3, 4 games. Just bear in mind that one of those games he was concussed. So we'll count the last 3 games. So he didn't kick a goal. But yeah, 1 out of 10 for AJ.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Rocket, that's a bit like you playing Rocket. That's a bit like you in the forward line.
There's no defensive time. Doesn't bother me contest. And Rodney just steals goals. He just steals goals from everybody. He just burns players in the forward line. I
don't want to. I might digress a little bit, right? But I was playing a game with Rodney, Rocket as we call him, and he literally jumped. I stepped 2 people, right, and then I'm about to snap the ball. Right, I'm taking 1 step. He legit yanks the ball out of my hand, right? Then bananas it and scores a ripper of a goal against Q. It was a great goal. It was probably goal of the year, but he did rip the ball out of my hands, and I've never let him live it down since. But we always talk about that. But yeah,
did he come celebrate to you first at least?
Nah, he did. We ran together, hands up and all that.
Did you hug him and on the outside look happy, but on the inside were you whispering into his ear, "You fucking dog"? Or
I have to get down a little bit lower, champ. He is 5'5", but
hey, Rodney said, "Give it to the goal kickers, man."
He do right, Chase. Well, who do we got next?
I've got. All right, here we go. DC. Okay.
Oh.
The best marking ruckman in the league. Contested marks, intercept marks, whatever you want. Well clear of the lot. Beats Gorn, beats Sherry in those categories. So he's our man. He's again another Copeland Trophy sneak if someone like Nick Dacos wasn't in the team. Because I think as long as Nick Dacos is fit and healthy, knock on wood, this year he wins the Copeland Trophy, the Brownlow medal, and everything else in between. But his best game was against West Coast. 24 disposals, 5 intercept marks, 2 contested marks. 24 disposals, also the second highest in his career. His most was against the Hawks in 2022 of 26 disposals, a goal, 5 intercept marks, and 9 coaches' votes. But his best moment, brother, for me, was his goal against North, where he throws that the shit on the floor.
Yeah.
He says, "Fuck it off." And for that, 9. DC 9.
Yeah.
Brother
I
playing
back
playing
nine.
the ruck a full-time ruck role without a Cox in there. Yeah, Krueger pinch hit it a little bit. Krueger pinch hit it a little bit, but for the most part, Darcy Cameron's worn the burden of being a full-time ruckman against the likes of Tim English, Max Gawn, Tristan Sherry in the last few weeks. Luke Jackson, Sean Darcy. So 9 out of 10.
Could even put it at 9.2 champs. He's just outperformed my expectation this year. He's having a tremendous year. So, yeah, champ, lock in a 9.
9. Why does he look like a cartoon? I think it's just the filter I used, eh? This is the filter I used on Canva. 9.59. Chris says 9. 9. And who would you like, brother?
Let's go with. Should I save him for the last? I'll raise you one Darcy Cameron, and I'll raise it to a Nick Dacos.
Cheats.
Cheats. Well, I don't know. Does he need much introduction without just putting him on there and giving him a rating straight away, champs? I don't know. But 30.4 disposals, currently averaging 5th in the league. Obviously, he's come in and played, a midfielder role now, not really seen him at all come off the half-back line. He's also been able to develop a contested game, and he's currently averaging 14.5 contested possessions, 2nd in the league behind Cripper after his big game on Friday. 3.4 center clearances, which is also 2nd in the league. The 3.9 stoppage clearances, which makes him in the top 10. He's only, I did chuck this in there. His efficiency regarding kicking, which we've had some concerns of, or people have highlighted, is his kicking efficiency has dropped from 69.2 to 62%. So it hasn't been that big of a drop, champs, but his handballing efficiency remains the same. And we are seeing him, because he's in the midfield, kicking a lot on his left foot. So I wouldn't really count that as much as a negative as the media was portraying it earlier on in the year. The next big challenge for Nick Dacos is how he fights the tag. In the last couple of games, he's getting tagged, but he's had an absolutely unreal year. I've given him, champ, a 9.8, which mark him pretty much the highest I think we've ever given anyone in the Pies performance.
Why is it not a 10? What are the 2 points short of?
I don't even know, chance. It's just because we've never done a 10. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We can put him as a 10. I'm going to be very happy putting him as a 10. But I don't know. Maybe we should have had an animation ready to go if we're going to put someone as a 10. But if you want to lock him in as a 10, a 9.8, it's up to you.
Chat, can we accept a 10? Yeah. If you accept a 10, guys, give us a thumbs up in the chat. And then, because we don't want to do this without any qualms in the chat, because this is the people's champ we're talking about, the potential people's champ, brother.
If I'm correct, champ, he's not leading the people's champ award. I think he's behind, right?
He's one short.
There we go. 9. We'll leave it to 9.8.
No, 9.8. 2 thumbs up. Hold on, man. Just give me a second, man. Hold on, man.
Maybe, champ, we give him a 9.9 and we see how he overcomes the tag moving forward.
What? That's what I said. Leads to beat the tag to be a 10. Bro, like he still kicked the goal against can't be 10. No, he's in the chat. Thumbs up. Come on, man. What more does he need to do, man?
Lock him in, Eddie. Lock him in as a 10 then.
Indeed, 10.
Lock him in.
We'll have an animation for 11 out of 10. He has beaten the tag. I think I would agree he beaten the tag. 15 touches, kicked the goal, a goal assist, led the game in clearances despite being subbed off early in the third. Tagged against Carlton. Okay. So there's your first 10 out of 10 in all the Pie performers, guys. Record breaking. Moving on. So I've done Bo, I've done DC. Oh, brother, I'm happy with this one. Billy. Is it Mark of the Year?
It was clean. It is very clean. I do like Bobby Hill's one better from North Melbourne last week, just because of the way he came back with the flight of the ball. But that was like a picture perfect, like textbook specky.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people were saying, oh, but Elliot marked it over Ben Macrae. Well, Bobby Hill also marked it over Billy Frampton, who's also 6'6". So, and if Bobby Hill fell on his ass, it would have been mark of the century. But because he landed like a gazelle, it just didn't look like, he got that second lift as well, as Chris is pointing out to. Shama. Elliot's a solid 7. Bro. All right. Hold on. I'll get to that in a sec, because there's a few Franks in the chat right now, man. Jamie Elliott, in my opinion, is one of the only players who had a good start to the season. He's averaging close to 2 goals per game, which is 6 amongst all small to medium-sized forwards in the league. He's also averaging 1.5 tackles inside 50 per game, which is top 15 in the league, and also potential mark of the year against Essendon. And as I said, one of the only players to hold his ground early in the year, 8.5.
Huh?
8.5.
8.5.
Averaging close to 2 goals per game, 1.5 tackles inside 50 per game, which is top 15 in the league. Potential mark of the year. If we want to talk about individual match performances as well, I can do that. Just give me one moment. Let me just pull it up, Jamie. Jamie Elliott, view match stats. Let's have a look. So, 24. Here we go. So, round 1 against Sydney, 2 goals. St Kilda, 3 goals. Brisbane, 4. And then 1-1, 2-1. Tackles all across the games. Disposals. 8.5.
Let's do one. Yeah. All right.
Billy for the mark alone. Pack marks are harder. 8 for Jamie. We've already done Harvey Harrison. What do we get Harvey out? Wrote it down. We gave Harvey Harrison a 7.8. 6.5. Benny Parsons, welcome.
Welcome.
Maybe
I didn't have him that high, Chan. I didn't have him that high. But it's been a while since I watched him play. Like maybe an 8.
8. Jamie Elliott, 8. Guys. I wrote Nick Dacos. Usually I write the number out of 10. I wrote Nick Dacos out of 10. So.
You're cooking it, champ. You're cooking.
Who do you want, man?
Look, we'll go Finlay, Macrae.
Be kind, brother. Okay. Go easy, man.
At least you got a photo of him. Look, it's been disappointing, but we'll get into it. Look, 9.9 disposals, 65% disposal efficiency. Hasn't been the best. Has made some clangers early on. His shocking disposal last week still lives rent-free out of my mind last week, out of the back line when he just absolutely cooked the kick out. It was direct turnover. My expectations going in for him into the season was, when the VFL season started happening, champs, was he was playing so good, averaging 30 disposals, recalling why isn't he in the side? Why isn't he in the side so early on? And he hasn't lived up to that expectation. And the reason why I'm going to give him a harsh score here, champs, is because my expectation of him going into the side has not lived up to that. And honestly, I don't know if he's going to make it in terms of playing another game for the rest of the year. All right. So I've had enough. I've given him a 2.5, champ, because his expectations from him going into the side, as Chris is making me laugh, hasn't lived up to it. He hasn't lived up to my expectations. He's so good in the VFL. Can't translate that into AFL. Just looks a little bit off the pace, I've given him a 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. Agreed.
And
I think
like
I'll be being very kind with the 5 and 4.5. It's coming into the, like you said, brother, coming into the season, massive hype to have an impact this year, and it hasn't happened.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
2.5, easy, bro, easy.
He's had decent games against bad opponents, right? That West
He's
Coast
had one
game,
good game, brother. One good game.
yeah, that's the game I was alluding to. It was probably his best game. A lot of people had their best game there. Reef McInnes kicked 3 goals that game. Joe Richards had 1 goal, 3 goal assists. So look, like I want to take that as a silver lining, but the fact that we were legitimately bashing down on the door, on the podcast, on everything about, hey, this is going to be the next guy, and he hasn't delivered to that fact, is why I'm giving him 2.5, because he hasn't lived up to the expectation that we were, hoping he was delivered for us.
Yeah.
So who you got next?
5 means average, 2.5 is what he's well below average. Well below average. And his kicking efficiency is horrible. He's a VFL player, unfortunately. Not taking his chances, exactly. Have I got bro, tell me here we go. The GOAT. I need to change that. As well. I forgot about it. But Jordan De Goey.
That is a shocking photo, but we're not it. We won't get into that, man.
I made it like 2 months ago, man. I haven't changed. I need to update it. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. Jordan De Goey was one of the worst players in the early parts of the season, obviously, given the premiership year, the final series he had. We all thought De Goey is going to start translating that finals form into home and away form. We're all fooled to a certain extent. I think I now can accept that Jordan De Goey is never going to be a Scott Pendlebury or a Nick Dacos where they get their 25, 30 touches every game. De Goey is a 20 to 25 disposal player with 1 to 2 goals each game. And then he explodes in the final series, right? This year, he's averaging 23 disposals. His kicking efficiency is down to 44% from 61. So we need to address that. We've seen some horrible kicks. He sent Scott Pendlebury for a week away from the team when he got killed with that hospital ball in the midfield in the ribs. Tom Mitchell copped it as well. He's found his feet in the last 4 games, though, brother. 26.75 disposals in the last 4 games, average. He's had 20 coaches vote in those last 4 games, 10 against the Hawks, 9 against Port, and a massive game against the Crows, which was his last game before he got injured again, with 0 centre bounce attendances. He had 26 touches, 2 goals, 2 goal assists. I'm going to give Jordan De Goey a 7.7.
7.7. Yeah, I think the biggest thing because we're going to look at this as a holistic approach. I do believe his last couple of games have been unreal. But I remember you sharing a clip of him walking from the clearance very early on, and his work ethic was absolutely abysmal at the start of the season. And, De Goey strikes me as a man that could potentially still be hungover from September. But, you also got to think of it relative. It's a score relative to their previous seasons, right? So to give him a 9 or an 8, it means he'd be exceeding what we've come to know from him from previous seasons. So, look, I reckon a 7... What did you have? A 7.7?
Yep.
Like, we can give that a mark, champ. I could even argue it to be a little bit lower, to be honest, just based off the Jordan De Goey that we were expecting leading into the season, and the expectations there. But yeah, look, we can go with a 7.7.
7.7. There's more in the tank for Jordan De Goey in the second half of the year when we need him the most. Next,
we'll go my favorite man, in a multi, not down
Ah,
Oh no, that's it. Yeah, but yeah, we'll go with Brody Mychek. If you got him, champ, you got him right.
yeah, I got him. Hold on, where is he? I got him.
Oh no, champ. What type of show are you running?
Oh man, I'm running a tight shit, man.
If you want to chop out, let me know.
Hold on, man.
I need
to write that. So I need to do a Brody Mychek edit, and who else was it? A Joe Richards edit. Joe Richards. All right, man. Fuck's sake, man. Hey, man, life's tough, man.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
This is mini Mychek.
Yeah, all right. Well, Check is such an important role for us. He's undersized for his position, and he's come to just provide a key role for someone who's traditionally undersized. I just love that about him. He competes, he gets high up on the wing, and he's able to burn his man. And that's really translated in his score involvement. He doesn't get a lot of goal assists, but he does get a lot of score involvement, and that's probably because he gets the ball up quite high. He's averaging 5.7 score involvements, which is quite good. He's also 1.4 tackles inside 50, which is he's marked as a key forward. So he's that makes him 7th in the league for key forwards for tackles inside 50s, which is quite good. He's also a man, averaging 1.8 goals, which is slightly down. He did average 2 goals last year, champs, which is why I loved him in the multis. But, we moved past that. Based off his year so far, champ, I don't think might get a little bit of flack. He's over delivered in what we've come to expect from him, right? So I've given him just an above average pass mark. I've given him a 6.6.
What?
I've given him a 6.6 because we've come to know
Madison Tallarico.
Champ, we know what we expect from him. He's he's 2 goal a game player. You know what I mean? That's what I've come to know of Checkers. You know what I mean?
Brother, 1.5 tackles inside 50 per game as a key tool. That's out of this world.
1.4 tackles. But, champs, I'm saying this in terms of what I expect Checkers, and this is what I've come to expect from him.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Nah.
You don't agree?
And he's been subbed out.
Champ,
now, Chris, I forgot to do
I'm saying Checkers has a high base. We've come to know and love him, right? I'm not saying he's shit. I'm far from saying he is a shit player. You know what I mean? I'm just saying the standard that we've come to know from Checkers is he's not doing
his
anything.
Standard then is an 8 out of 10.
He's fucking good, and I'll give him an 8 out of 10 most weeks for being an undersized key forward and what he does. But if you want to base off what your expectation was coming on in the season, I think he's meeting the expectation I had for him, which is a high ceiling. What would you give him then? What would you give him? Peter Nutt agrees with me with the 6.5.
1.8 goals, 1.5 tackles inside 50 per game, which would be easily let me just quickly fact check that.
Benny's made me laugh.
Fuck that, man. Hold on, Benny. I'm putting that on the. Hold on. All right, 1 second. So, if we go, let's go key forwards. Yeah, key forwards, and let's go minimum 8 games. Okay, from 8 games to 14 games played at least, and we'll go tackles inside 50. Yeah.
Oh, cry me a river, man. It's getting 1,
2, 3, 4, 5th in the league, man. For key forwards, tackles inside 50, nearly 2 goals a game.
I gave you that statistic. I gave you that stat. Why are you reading the stats I've already given you? I'm just saying he's set a high bar for himself as a forward. You know what I mean?
7.5.
Okay, but like ultimate greatness and he's underperformed. I'm actually saying he's above.
Ultimate
average,
greatness
right?
had some crazy takes though as well, man.
So just to recap the scoring thing, a 6 is like an average pass mark, what we've come to expect of the player, right? And I'm just giving him slightly higher than what we've come to expect from him, right? What?
So hold on, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this,
You're talking a lot. You haven't given me a score of what you would give him.
I give him a 7.5, but if we're going to rate based on what we've come to expect, 6 is a pass mark. Okay, what's a pass mark? Blah, blah, blah. Nick Dacos, if we rate him based on what we come to expect.
No, because he didn't have a contested possession game coming in to the season. You know, a lot of people saying he can't win a hard ball. Well, we've obviously seen that, and that's why he's been absolutely unreal, right? And he just keeps on climbing.
Averaged.
He just keeps on climbing, lad. You know what I mean?
7.5.
So, cop that.
7.5.
No. All right, we'll go 7 then. Would you go give him a 7?
I'm writing it down reluctantly, man. 7. What gets him to an 8 by the end of the season, brother? Tell me.
A healthy Macho.
Yep.
Obviously, get his goal assist up a little bit more. I know he's a key forward, but still get that up and get the. I know it's going to be hard because he's averaging 1.8, but I'd like to see a couple more bigger performances. I know he's got like 3 against Freo, but like a couple more higher scoring performances. You know, like a 5-goal haul, for example. But yeah, champs. Look, his stats could go up even more, right, with Krueger in the side. So there is a lot of upside here where Krueger might take the number 1 defender, and then that frees up Mychek to be the second. So I'm not saying he's underperformed or anything. I think he's good, but we'll go from there.
He's taking the piss. He's joking. He's taking the piss, Dad. He's just taking the piss.
Oh, that's funny. All right. We'll keep it moving.
7 for Brody, and I'm going to move on to this guy. Where is he? Titch. Tom Mitchell. Man, like in some of the games, he looked well past it, well finished, well baked. And then there were games where he looked like the most important player in our team from a contest, stoppage, clearance point of view, right? Weekend's another retard. And he started as a sub once. He's been subbed off a couple of times. Admittedly, it's come to the forefront that he's been carrying a foot injury for the entire season, plantar fasciitis. He had a surgery. But I'm not going to give him too much leeway when it comes to that, just because no one's playing injury-free. Sure, his might be worse than a lot of the others that are nursing through injuries. But brother, my opinion is if you're on the field, you're being judged fairly across the field, right? Can you agree to that to a certain extent? Yeah. He was vital against the Hawks and the Lions, and we needed the wins more than ever. And before his last game against Essendon, where he was subbed off because of that foot injury, I think, or he was having limited impact anyways. I think it was one of his worst games. He was averaging 15 contested possessions and 6 clearances, which is the reason why we got the man. Right? Given the adversity, given the bounce back, the resilience, I'm still willing to give him a 6.8.
Yeah, let's go with a. I think I'm all tuckered out from the last conversation, man.
You don't want to go back. You don't want to do it again, huh?
I don't want to go. No, this is fighting for my life.
What's the chat saying? 5, 7.5, 6.5, 7, 6.7. Once finals hit, he shows he proves his worth. Hard to grade him. 6.5. So I have a 6.8.
Especially carrying an injury as well.
Yeah.
It's probably why he did look a little bit slow, champs, right?
I think he's just slow. He's just slow.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. 6.5. Yeah.
6.5? All right. Yeah, Rodney, I feel like he's doing what I expected of him. 50 before the Essendon game, he averaged 15 contested possessions and 6 clearances.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we'll move on. Champ.
We'll go the man Pendles.
That is violating the chat, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put him in a timeout soon.
Oh man.
Where is he?
Am I not? Are you pulling up Pendles, champs?
I thought I was. I pulled him up before. Where is he? Oh, there we go.
Did you delete him?
Nah, wouldn't do that.
Mr. Biceps himself. Well, what do we got for Pendles? 21.4 disposals. He's getting 8.8 contested possessions. He's also averaging champs 2.5 center clearances, which is second highest since that stat's been recorded in Willow ratings. So that's second highest since 2012, right? So he's actually wound back the clock a little bit. And there was talks about
what? Sorry, you cut out.
Center clearance.
Yep.
Which he's wounding back the clock, and we, there was talks not from us, but to hang up the boots. He's looking a little bit old, but I reckon that never really come into mind for me, and I thought he's been quite well for us, and I've given him, I gave him an 8 out of 10 champs. Now, will I get flamed for this considering what we've come to expect from the player? Maybe. But to keep doing what he's doing and develop to the expectations that he has set for himself at age 36 can't go understated. So I've given him an 8 out of 10. Definitely starting to wind back the clock and continue to play at such a high standard. So that's what I've given him, champs.
An 8 out of 10.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of not talking there.
I'm just.
You reckon it should be higher? Like, look, or you trying to argue lower? I know we wanted to be comfortable with silence, but I feel like this isn't the way to do it, James.
Can we give him an 8.5?
An 8.5? Look, his game against Adelaide was pretty unreal. Same with West Coast. Yeah, I'm happy to give him an 8.5. Yeah, why not? He's the man. So yeah, let's move it as an 8.5 and we'll go from there.
Yeah, 8.5. Just because the man's 36. Like, if any other 36-year-old has the season that Pendles is having, it's just because we hold Pendles to a high standard. But I think in the last few years, he's got a bit older. His role's been reduced. He's not Pendles of 2010 or any of those years, of course. But I think like you said, he's starting to wind back the clock. I love the man. I love the man so much that I want to give him an 8.5. Give him his flowers.
Yeah, that's fine. And look, I know they're different positions, and a key forward like Tom Hawkins, like watching him against Carlton on Friday night, you can really see like the game's kind of past him. And like, with all respect with Tom Hawkins, I've never really loved him, to be honest. I always think he was fucking baby oiled up too much, but he was a good player. And it's kind of, it is a little bit hard. Like, I don't have much fanfare for the Cats, but like, he just looks so slow out there, and like the game has gone past him. It's like, man, just get him off the field. Like, I don't think he's even in their best 22, man. Like, call me crazy, but yeah, would you agree with that? Like, do you reckon Tom Hawkins should be running around?
Well, look at this, yeah. Look at this, right? Travis Boak is 36, and he's washed. Tom Hawkins, 36, playing like he's washed. Todd Goldstein, okay. Zach Tui, Dane Zorko, Taylor Walker. Dane Zorko's obviously having a great season. Outside of that, they're all looking a little bit cooked. So I think just with what Scott Pendlebury's doing, given the players around him at this age, he's playing like an 8.5 for his age.
Hey, lock it in, Eddie. Lock it in.
Let's go, champ. Wooden Spoon Data's in the house. Hey, Woody, someone had a question earlier. They said, what would the ladder look like if the game ended? Every game ended at halftime. I don't know how much. It's a bit of a nuffy stat. It doesn't really mean a whole lot, but yeah. It is a bit like, I don't know if you can make a YouTube video on that because it's really just like, so. But anyways, let's go with, this one will be a quick one because he's played not a lot. Where is he? There we go. Ed Allen had that game against Fremantle, and he played on the wing, and Jeremy Sharp showed him how tough it can be to play on the wing, and he still doesn't look physically ready, built for the game. Didn't have a great impact with the ball. I almost want to give him a non-rating. Like, he only played one game. I can't give him a pass, but I can't say he didn't pass. Actually, I can. I will.
No, because we re-ranked TJ, so you can give him a ranking.
Well, if TJ got a 5, yeah, then I'm going to give Ed Allen just a 3. He had an opportunity. If he played good enough, he would have still been in the team. He didn't. 3 out of 10. Yeah, 3.5.
Do you know what we gave him last time? Because I feel like if you got that written down, that should just be his score. What we agreed upon last time.
Let me just check here. Pies performance versus D's. Ratings here. No, I don't think so, bro. We'd have to run it back, but I want to give him a 3. Look, shouldn't rate players on playing enough games, but I'm making the point that he had not a full opportunity. If he played well enough, he would have been in the team. Not a pass mark just yet for me. 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just now. Nothing personal, but it's nothing personal.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it nice and non-biased. And like Tujath, for example, came in. We gave him a 5 out of 10 this week. So then that's
Tujath, man. Tujath, man.
Tujath, man. I believe this is my last play, champs. I got Lipper.
Yep. Let's go. Lipinski.
Yeah. Well, where do I start with Lipper? I think he's having a really good year this year. He's 18.9 disposals, ranks him 4th for medium forwards. Sorry, let me start again. I cooked that. 18.9 disposals. He's 4th in midfield forward role players. He also, if you extrapolate that data into mid forwards as well, he then sits 7th on the table for that. He's getting 7.3 contested possessions, and his 6.5 ground ball gets, which is the highest for mid forwards in the league. He's also averaging 5.2 score assists and 1 goal a game. And he's been really good. You know, he's able to play a half forward role. He's also able to do a job on the wing as well. And has been lifted to quite a good standard. Kind of that, you know, year of 2022 had quite a good year for us. I've given him an 8 out of 10 champs for his year so far.
An 8.2 out of 10 for Mr. Patrick Lipinski.
Yeah.
He's come a long way from last year. There was big raps around him in the preseason that he's found his way. He's had a full preseason. Last year was underdone with that shoulder Rico. Big Brad Collins is in the chat. Sleeps the lights on. He did sleep the lights on last year. He looked scared. He looked gutless. Whether that was because he was scared that he was going to re-injure a shoulder and whatnot, but he's come in. He's looked revivified. He looks ready, refreshed, a newfound confidence. His ball use going inside 50 has been unreal. A great connector. He's finding the goals. We kicked 4 goals against Port Adelaide, I think it was, brother, from memory. 8.2 and he's exceeding expectations. So 8.2, 100%. 100%. You also got Jack Bytel, by the way, brother.
I do? Okay. Let me...
I'll leave you with it, champ. But in the meanwhile, let's go with... What have I got here? The other half, huh? All right. I've got a new analogy for you today, brother. Last time we said you stole all the good lollies from the party mix, yeah? You had the purples, the reds. You gave me the green and yellows. This time round, I'm going to say we split the chocolates, the favorites chocolates. You didn't leave me with the cherry ripes and Turkish delights. You gave me a few crunchies and a few flakes. And Josh Dacos is a crunchy to flake. What's wrong, man? You like cherry ripe and fucking Turkish delight now?
Turkish delights are the best one, but your analogies are so shit. we gotta work on this. But fucking hell. But yeah,
you like Turkish delight?
It's my favorite. It's my favorite chocolate. I just bought one from the servo earlier today.
Anyways, man, fuck it off. So Josh Taylor's having a quietly good season. Ironically, his stats this year are basically mimicking or a mirror image of what he was able to do last season on the wing. His ball use is elite. He can impact the scoreboard, averaging half a goal a game. A good connector, good runner. He can smell. He has an appetite for the moment. He was an All-Australian last year. And if his stats are the same this year, then he's probably replicating another All-Australian-like year. I'm giving Josh Dacos an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I can live with an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been doing quite well. So
a few people have him on the upper spectrum, but I'm content with an 8. I think there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more in there for Josh Dacos to unleash. A little bit more untapped. More to come in the second half of the season.
Yeah, we've been seeing him sneak into the centre bounces as well, and like to see him in there as well. So yeah, no, don't hate it,
brother. You and Benny have much in common, apparently.
Hey Benny, if you ever come to Melbourne again, hit Pies Footy up on Instagram, and we'll have a beer and a Turkish delight together. How about that?
You won't see me there. Not with the cherry ripe, anyways. 8.5, 8.5, 8. Look, brother, I think people are giving him the upper end of 8, so let's give him an 8.2 for JD.
Done.
All right, JD gets 8.2, and there's still a little bit more unturned from Mr. Josh Dacos, Ben Parsonson's bet. All-Australian, Copeland, and the flag. That was him last year, yeah. All-Australian, Copeland Trophy winner, and the flag. That's a massive year. Wins the treble. Brother, do you want to do Bytel now?
Yeah.
It's a bit of an air raid anyways, man.
Yeah. Look.
Where is he? Hold on 1 second, brother. I just lost him. JB.
Yeah, there he is. Look, obviously it's come from, we got him this year, picked him up after he got delisted from St Kilda. He has 6 disposals, averaging across the 3 games he had. Hasn't really been able to get a good run. Like, he's played the sub in all games he's played. Actually, no, he didn't. He played a full game against Western Bulldogs, didn't he?
Yeah, he started one of the games, that's for sure.
Yeah, Western Bulldogs. But he played 2 of the games as a sub. He's one of those guys where, we did the Western Bulldogs, and I'm trying to keep an eye on him, and you just kind of just don't see him, and he hasn't really delivered in terms of taking his opportunity and being able to lock down a spot as a midfielder. That being said, I'm not going to be as harsh on him as I was Finlay Macrae, because Finlay, I had a high bar for him and good wishes because he's doing so well in the VFL. We were calling for him to come in. That's why I was very harsh with giving him a 2.5. But Jack Bartel, it's like I didn't really have much expectation. He didn't really deliver to what I thought. But at the same time, I don't really care too much, chaps. If I'm going to be that honest with you. And I don't think he's going to be able to weasel his way back into the squad with what he's shown so far against Melbourne, Western Bulldogs, and West Coast. Just to talk about the West Coast game, we had guys like Finlay Macrae who played an outrageous game then. We had Joe Richards as well, and we had Reef McInnes kicking all 3 goals. Guys that you would traditionally say as a fringe player, but they all played really good in that game, whereas Bartel didn't. He only got the 7 disposals for that game. I've given him, champ, based off like expectations, things like that, I've given him a 3.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, and his ball use as a winger, and with your wingers as an outside player, you want their disposal to be reliable. And I think when he started that game, I forget which game it was in particular, his ball use his kicking efficiency just wasn't there. And he wasn't finding the ball. So I think, man, I'd even go with 3.
Yeah, chuck him as a 3 then.
JB a 3. And then we're going to roll into Mr. USA. Coxie. Okay. So with Coxie, I think, I don't know, we know he doesn't rip the stat sheet up. We know that, right? He's there to be a nuisance in the forward line, to bring the ball to the ground, take a mark here and there, and kick a goal. Mr. USA he averaged a goal a game as a ruck forward last year, which is actually quite impressive for a ruckman. Like, I don't think there's any ruckman averaging a goal a game this year, if I'm not mistaken. So to be a ruck forward, average a goal a game, and be a nuisance in the forward line as an aerial threat. I think he's improved his pressure, his ground level pressure. We know under the tutelage of Nathan Buckley, when the ball hit the deck around Nathan Buckley, we were playing with 17 men on the field, right? The ball hit the deck, pencil out. He may as well be on the fucking floor playing with his fucking cherries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the air, he does good things. This year, he's averaging 0.4 goals per game, which is a big drop-off relative to last year. I don't think he's had some nice ruck work. I like it. I like his ruck craft. I'll give him a. I think he's performing below his standard from last year. I'll give him a 5.
A 5. Yeah, look, the biggest thing that I take from him, besides his goal kicking, is pretty straight. Ben's left, but champs, I like that pressure that he's given, because I haven't been the biggest fan of Mason Cox, and my biggest gripe was with him is like, once the ball hits the ground and turns over, he doesn't really deliver. He might do the first initial effort, but he doesn't give you a second or third pressure effort. And I've really liked to see that this year, and how he's developed that. And look, when he was injured, champs, and he still is injured, but we've been saying, well, we kind of missed him out there a little bit as well, right? Like, you miss that second ruck option and just him being a nuisance. With all that being said, give him a 5, slightly below. I would give him, like, he's having an average season, and is like what I've come to expect from him. But yeah, a 5, I can live with that, champs.
Yeah, 5. If he kicks a few more, is he having less shots on goal? Let's see. He's having, so last year he was having almost 2 shots a game. This year, less than a shot on goal per game. Yes, he's a role player, but I don't think he's living up to the expectation of his role right now, which is why it's a 5. And we say 6 is a pass mark, yeah, champs? I don't think he's quite passing the mark just yet. Big brattles. But back half of the season, Coxie is the type of player who loves a big moment. Big Cox, big moment, right?
He loves a big shove after the fucking goal as well, huh?
Yeah, he does. So, yeah. And we'll talk, brother. We'll see how that goes. But have we got anyone else? Have we ticked everyone off, right?
I believe that's everyone.
Boxes. He has had an awesome career. My favourite game of Big Mason Cox brother was in the prelim against Richmond in 2018. Cox gets a 6. Yeah, 5. We've settled on a 5, so Big Coxie 5. Can't wait to get Ilary Smith. This kid's going to be a gun. We'll see how he goes. We'll see how early days. 19-year-old ruckman. I mean, what can we expect of him right now? Probably not a lot.
Yeah, he looked all right in that VFL game against Casey Demons. Showed a lot of athletic ability. Looked quite quick around the ground. So, yeah, we'll see what how he develops.
We'll just quickly update So this is as of after the Melbourne game, right? The Melbourne game.
North Melbourne game.
No, this is not. I should have done that as well, but I had a lapse of concentration today. So this is after the Melbourne game, right? But we've got the updated one, brother. Crisp is leading at 10 votes. Nick Dacos 9, Bobby Hill 5, Maynard 4, DC 5, Dacos 3, Howe 3, Shultz 5, Krueger 1. Is that right? Or have I just cooked this?
I don't know. I reckon just get rid of the graphic, pull us next to it. We'll sign off, and we'll give. What do you, champs? A little bit out of notes. What do you give Collingwood out of 10 for your expectations going into the season?
Like, what do I rate the first half of the year?
What do you rate them?
I will give Collingwood resilience, a good sign of resiliency. I'm going to give Collingwood, we're in the top 4, or I think we're 5th. I'll give us an injuries as well, an 8, given the circumstances. An 8 out of 10 so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is guys coming up and being able to fill a role that, last year we had hardly any injuries. And I think that's a really good sign of a squad to be able to get someone to come in, especially with such a system-based team, they're still performing to the same level as they were, even though we did come up with a slow start. So, yeah, I think 8 out of 10 banks it on the head. Do you want to sign off and give anyone any insights, any videos coming this week? Talk about the live streams we're doing later on as well.
The rundown for the week, guys. We will be doing a Pies Eyes podcast, which will be released latest Thursday, hopefully earlier, but we'll see. And then we've also got Moving the Magnets, which is the team news release Thursday night from 5:45. And we have the team release at 6:20, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And then we got the yeah. So we got the pre-game show, and then which Caleb won't be available for, unfortunately. He's got a game. And then we got the watch-along for the Gold Coast game. So we'll be doing a watch-along. Caleb will find his way into the watch-along at some point through the game. And then he'll also be present for the post-game. Have you got any plans for the Saturday evening?
Nah. Old Pies footy, mate.
Yeah. So that will be the rundown. 8.5, 7.8. And Brad Collins, Big Braddle, says, couldn't ask for more considering the circumstances. Defense 5, forward 5, overall.
And guys in the comments, what do you give us out of 10 thus far in the season? And what did you give this segment out of 10? So would be interesting to know what you guys are thinking about our hot takes. Especially, I know maybe Benny Parsons isn't getting much sleep tonight after that Checkers rating, but hey, it is what it is.
And we got some harsh critics in here, man. They're gonna give us nightmares. Fuck.
I just remember 14 premierships, yeah. All right, 1990. All right, man. It's been good.
All right, guys. We'll see you very soon. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you throughout the week. Go Pies. Shama,
huh?